Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Oh my God. Okay. Grab something to sip on, nibble on, devour, munch, whatever. Oh my God. Like, I'm watching because I keep, like, over the last few days, my list of episodes that I need to work on and create is getting too long to the point where I just need to finish this daggone novel. But it's like I feel like all of the haters in my life who tell me to give up, like, and I know I'm not monetized yet, and the thing is I'm not marketing my channel at all, which you can tell. And it's like I've already mentioned in other episodes, I was scammed. It's like at first I'm like, you know what with, even though, like, I'm going through my disability physical training and all this other stuff, doing research, looking up nonprofits for my situation or whatever, and then looking up research to learn more about my disability that took decades to finally convince doctors to even believe me. And well, yeah, it literally took to the point where I could not walk anyway. But yeah, I hired somebody to do it so that I can focus on my writing and disability, like research and my sanity and everything like that. But then they scammed me. Yeah. Trying to run a business while dot. Yeah, okay. But anyway. So, haha. Yeah, so my list, like, I've been trying to do everything, and part of my goal is just to, at least as long as I do one episode a day, that will keep me obligated, that will keep, and at the same time, this has really helped me mentally, because if you guys have been watching my over 300 to 400 episodes, I have been showing and proving the toxicity within the dating atmosphere on dating apps, and oh my gosh, these guys are so illiterate, and that's the topic today. Because and the thing is, I've mentioned this before. It's so funny that I'm watching videos on topics that I've covered, but then I can't find the right people to I can trust to market, because I've been talking about the literacy rate. I've been talking about, like, how the lack how little effort, especially men, put into either their dating profiles or reading dating profiles. And literally, while getting everything set up so I can record this episode, I ran into the situation again. Just while trying to set everything up, I look at my phone and, okay, let me just, okay, yeah, let me just first watch this video, because especially from a Zennial's point of view is really interesting. But the funny part is, since she's a Zennial, mm, a lot, like, the Zennials are a result of my generation. Like, like, I'm talking to their daddies. I'm talking to their dad, and their daddies can't read. So if the daddies can't read, they can't read, because a lot of the it's really crazy how many times, because I'm a sapiosexual, so that's one reason I've been single. I'm not married, and especially, like, with the long term relationships I did have, it's like something kept, like, I'm like, this. I'm not happy. This is miserable, because they were not sapiosexuals, and or Mr. No Heart pretended in order to keep me around. And every time I was about to break up with him, then all of a sudden, oh yeah, let's watch a documentary. Let's do this. Let's talk. Let's debate. Let's do the, like, nerdy stuff or whatever. And or, like, yeah, it's like I've already talked about. Yeah, go back. Like I said, I have like, I think over 400 episodes or whatever. So I talk about both of them. But, like, after breaking up with him, 7-year relationship after breaking up with him, oh my gosh, do you know how little these men mm, these men cannot read whatsoever? And sometimes it's absolutely frustrating. I went on a date, I think 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And yet, because, yeah, I've been on a lot of one time dates and so blessing because oh yeah, I still have to tell you about like okay, an episode in the near future. I'm going to tell you guys the story time about when this one guy asked me out. We actually did go on a date, but then after the date, he tried to blackmail me on if I didn't sleep with him, then dot dot dot, which is a lot like Mr. Lockakey. I don't know why a lot of these men they act like, oh, I'm gonna make her sleep with me. That's gonna get her. That's gonna get me a relationship. That's gonna get me a quality woman because I'm going to force her. I'm going to blackmail her. Idiots. Idiot. Like that they then they don't understand why they can't get a woman or a quality woman or a woman that actually authentically likes them or cares for them. Because when you feel like you have to blackmail them, and then the way this idiot tried to okay. So get ready for that episode. Cause yeah, that's I put a star next to that one because I need to do I haven't done a dating nightmare in a while, but okay. Okay. When it comes to literacy, yeah, like I said, a lot of like Gen Z, yeah, haha. I'm sorry, babies, but yeah, I went to school with a lot of your daddies, yeah, or I probably got to know some of your daddies, yeah, and a lot of them, yeah, like I said, that's one reason I am single because a lot of them don't even read profiles and or they don't read at all or they can't comprehend because okay, my dating profile is an example, and I will admit like because with the limited of characters, I had to phrase my dating profile in a way that was kind of brief because I had to I had to list all of my standards because the quality of men out there, not that great, not that great. But then they try to gaslight and tell, yeah, because so it's like I say in my profile that if you do not meet all of these, that we can still talk and chat or basically be friends. But then a lot of men, they don't read it right and they're like, oh, I have to do all of that to be your friend. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Did you not read what? Did, it's like some of them read it right, correctly. And some of the men read it correctly, but then they pretend they meet the standards, but then they come back at me later saying that I need to get over the standards and date them anyways because they're like, since you talked to me for over a week, over a month, over 2 months, over 6 months, now you have to date me. You have to get over your standards because, see, you can talk to me. And I'm like, yeah, I can talk to you, but I don't like you. I can talk to you, but I'm not attracted to you. I can talk to you, but I'm not interested in dating you. Because some men try to put it like you're obligated. But it's like some men, they read it and then they act like I'm catfishing or I must be trans or I must be like a catfish. But a lot of men don't read the profiles at all. Do you know how many men have written me and then I tell them or I ask them, oh, I'm just wondering, did you read my profile? Because I look at their profile and I see that they are not vaccinated. And I see they have, like, they don't mention, because I know that dating apps don't ask, like, when it comes to education. It's like, can they add the option of trade or certification? Can you do that, please? Can you do, because, like, I, with my standards, it's like I know there are some good guys with high school diplomas, but a lot of the guys with high school diplomas, when they find out my education, they put me down and degrade me, dehumanize me, and or tell me that I am not like women are not made for education. We are made for making babies. They sound like that ridiculous pastor that Pete Hegseth goes to and stuff. And so I need a man who understands the importance of education and also, well, related to this topic, can read because, okay, back to like, I went on a date 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, you thought I forgot, I didn't, but I remember like with me writing my novels because yeah, you're talking to an author. Because I right now I have my children's books and oh my, I have a list of children's books that are started, but I need to finish. And my illustrator here, she keeps contacting me like, girl, when are you gonna finish these? When are you gonna finish these? And I'm just like, I'm trying like, do you know all the stuff I'm working on? But anyway, this on this date, I was talking about my books and he was pretending that he was interested, but at the end of the day, he just wanted some basically or whatever. And yeah, but yeah, then he got morning sickness. Yeah, I put that in the restaurant review and everything. They're like, "How was the dinner?" I was like, "Oh, well, you gave him food poisoning." So I guess like I don't know whether to say bad or thank you or whatever because he literally tried to like with my disability, he without my permission drove me to his house and I yeah, uh-huh, yeah. I'll tell that full story another day too. But I thought, you know what? It's like before I knew that he was going to be such a jerk because I saw some red flags, but he was really into politics and we were really, the conversation with politics was so amazing and great that I was like, okay, maybe I'm reading him wrong or maybe I thought I saw a red flag, but maybe I just misunderstood the situation and everything because maybe he's just nervous or whatever. But no, those red flags that I saw, no, I saw them, but I just was hoping it was just first impression nervousness and stuff like that or whatever. But I asked him, would you like to read a page? And he said, okay. He said, okay. Mm, I regret this. I regret that. Maybe I should have let him read a portion of the children's book because I let him start reading part of my novel and it was it was I feel like I was being punished. I feel like even though he was the one reading, I felt like I was the one in detention. I feel like I was the one in the corner because like I'm literally waiting and just like the way that his eyes were going and everything and it was just like, you okay? You okay? It's like because like literally like in my insides that like because like Pixar's Inside Out and everything. Oh my god! Like I feel like one of the little things in my head were just like, you okay? You okay, bro? You good? You okay? Like okay. What do we do? How do we check on him? It's like is he like what's going on? It's like what page? Like you gave him that certain page that it should be cool, right? Yeah, you didn't give him one of the murder scenes, right? Like, what's going on? And like, finally, like, he was just like, oh well, yeah, I'm just not that good at reading, and I'm like, not everybody is, and I understand that, but who? It was the amount of time that he was given and how little he read, and even when he started reading it out loud, that's when one of the little ones in my head wanted to talk to one of the little ones in his head to maybe like, okay, when you get home, maybe start watching Reading Rainbow. When you get home, maybe turn on some PBS. When you get home, yeah, it's like it's just like the little ones in my head kind of want to do the SOS to the little ones in his head, yeah, because he could hardly read and but it was crazy that because his listening skills were so great was amazing and so that's one reason why like a lot of these guys especially with generation Z, they grew up on the internet, they grew up with listening, so some of them may know about certain things just because of what they listened to and they didn't have to rely on reading and it's I, it's just crazy because yeah, when it came to politics, he was bringing up some law situations that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, wow. And he was kind of, I won't say impressed or whatever, but sometimes like when you would mention something, and I'm like, oh, can you mention that? Can you say the name of that again? And because I'm on my cell phone, like looking up, I was typing in the name of what he was talking about in my one of the search engines or whatever, and because I want to look it up and read more about it, and that shocked him. And even when I was reading it, like the way his eyes opened up, it was just like, what? Oh, and but I guess my reading was a little like, because I'm not a genius whatsoever, but I just remember years and years ago, I was in a study, and with part of the study, they tested our like different educational levels or whatever, and I was in fifth grade. And I remember in fifth grade, like the lady came back to my mom and she told my mom, your daughter has an 11th grade reading level. And my mom kind of looked at me, and because like, and that's one thing where, like, yeah, my mom gave me a lot of trauma throughout my like with my the undiagnosed disability. Lawyers, or yeah, I need to talk to a lawyer. No, it's like the doctors kept telling my mom I was lying and I wanted attention. I was making it up and everything like that or whatever. But one thing my mom stood on was education and the importance of education. And even with the Pizza Hut, like, oh yeah, well, we wanted our free pizza, and like we every summer until we aged out, we were in the reading program at the library. And midweek they would have the maybe a singer, a puppet person, or whatever. And so like our mom would drop us off at the library, and we would go to the event, and it was like it was cool and amazing. And after the event, like sometimes my mom would run errands during it, and so if it ended early, we would go upstairs, like like, and it's crazy. M- I kind of realized later, like our mom skipped the chill. Like we read in the kids section for a little bit or whatever, but our mom took us up to the chapter books early. And it's like I forgot. I think I was in third grade when I started reading Nancy Drew, and like I forgot. Like I read mostly mystery books, but I think I was in second or third grade. And but then it's like I want to say I read it like Langston Hughes, but I know I read, I was like, I'm trying to think of some of the other authors, but I can't remember all of them from back then. But I just remember when the doctor went, or this person in the study came up and told my mom that, it's like she just kind of like smiled or whatever, and she got in the car. She was like, "Huh? Oh, because well, with the education system, and especially with my disability, I do have a learning component with it. And it's like some of the teachers thought certain things or whatever. And you know what? Yeah, it's like I should have been in special ed for like certain things, because the way I learn is very different, and I struggled a lot because no one had the patience, and doctors didn't believe me, and they kept telling me I'm lying. And some teachers said I wasn't trying when I was trying, but I learned differently, and I needed time, or I needed certain resources in order to learn the things in the time that they expected me to, but I didn't learn the things in the expected time. So they went to my mom and told her that something, I'm lazy or not trying, or something's wrong with me, blah, 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 whatever. So, anyways, it's like, yeah, 11th grade level reading in fifth grade, and it kind of went up from there, whatever. But anyway, it's just, and especially with my disability, I do have a learning component with it. And it's like some of the teachers thought certain things or whatever. And you know what? Yeah, it's like I should have been in special ed for. It's crazy with how trying to date out here, and even while like a lot of men don't want educated women, but a lot of the times it's because a lot of the men out here aren't educated, or they didn't take the time to be educated, and or they don't want to read because, oh baby, okay, I got examples. Do you know how many men have bragged to me that they have not had to read a book since, some even told me, middle school? Because they told me, especially, like, the internet was starting to be made when we were in high school, and some of these guys are younger than me, so they had took advantage of it earlier. But some of them just looked up the stories or looked up summaries or whatever when they were younger, and they were able to just skim through without having to do much of the work. And now with Zenny, like, do you know how many, like, okay, because, okay, first I'll start with the guys that I went on, I talked to. Because I went on a date with a couple guys, but like, there were some guys where I've told you before, I've had telephone one night stands where after the first conversation, I'm like, this ain't gonna work. Nah, no, sorry, like, this is not going to work because of how many men told me reading is stupid, education is a bother, you don't need education to make tons of money. And with my standards list, I have higher education, not because of money. And that's where a lot of men, or especially poorly educated men, they automatically think money. But I'm a sapiosexual. I like talking, discussing, and I like someone who is able to talk and discuss and research and understand when they are wrong, or also understand other opinions to the point where they are not closed minded. That's why I like higher education. And also, the more education you have, the higher percentage that you are a Democrat, you're a progressive, and a liberal. And because I've noticed, especially with dating apps, normally with, like, when I see high school, usually I see signs of the conservative, and or in the on the dating profiles, like high school. That's like, especially Bumble. When I see high school, I see a lot of conservative. When I see high school, I see signs of conservatives, like even in their pictures. Because yeah, I read their profiles, and oh, and also I read what they say and things like that too. Especially when they say they're an alpha male or a real male, or they just have hunting and fishing pictures and things like that. Yeah, I read the words in every dating profile. I read the pictures because yeah, pictures say 1,000 words, and people don't even pay attention to the pictures that much. Read Read the entire, investigate, act like you are the Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew. Come on, dang it. Anyway, is do you know how many men have told me that in order to date them, this is before I finished either one of my masters, but it was after I finished my bachelor's that I was able to start, like, dating. I didn't have my first date until my sophomore year in college. But yeah, because my parents were really strict. But anyway. Oh yeah, and that's the guy. Yeah, I've told you about him. Yeah, he's happily married, and my mom forced me to have to be introduced. Yeah, go back and watch that episode because I have more trauma to tell you about that situation too. Yay, trauma! But when it came to, like, just dating and my masters or whatever, it's like right when I got accepted for my master's and everything. And my mom said, why in the hell did you do that for? And I just remember being emotional and crying and just like feeling like crap and feeling like I wasn't good enough and will never be good enough or whatever. So then I told the guy that I just started dating, I matched with him on Plenty of Fish. But then I told him, I was like, oh my gosh, guess what? I made it into grad school. I was like, isn't that great? Because I thought since my mom didn't think much of me, I thought at least he might. And he turned out telling me, "You can either get your master's or you can date me, but I don't want a smart woman." And throughout my dating life, I kept hearing, especially black men. You, I keep hearing black men say. I mean, and don't get me wrong, white men do it too. Other like demographics say it too, but it when it comes to black men, they don't, like, part of me is like, okay, we need to remember our history and how, especially with slavery and throughout our history, once they dragged our ancestors over here, they tried to keep us dumb, they tried to keep us poorly educated, they tried to keep us ignorant and everything like that so they can keep power over us and enslave us and own us. And so education And learning keeps you empowered, keeps you strong. And that's one reason they're trying to take away our education now. That's one reason why they're trying to enforce just learn from the Bible, blah, 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 and all this other stuff, because they are trying to keep us dumb. And so, and I have opinions on the science and stuff and why they're taking so much of it away as well. But that's a different story for a different day. But it's just crazy with especially how many men have told me that they thought you're hot, but I don't want to deal with a smart woman. It's like, oh, you're gonna think you're smart. You're gonna think you're something. It's like, oh, it's like I'm street smart, so I'm gonna be able to do more than you. Okay, good for you. It's like I don't know some of the men. It's like, and that's why it's like most of the men that I've dated don't have college degrees. But now I'm tired of men putting me down, or because even with Mr. No Heart, it's like he allowed his mom to say the only reason I got into college is because I'm black, and every time that I achieve something is only because I'm black and everything like that. And but then it's like, but then he tries to gaslight me when I'm breaking up with him because I'm tired of him degrading me and trying to act like I'm not good enough. And it's like education is important to me, and so I need to date somebody who understands that, because a lot of people, especially especially men, do not understand that, and a lot of men don't want their women to understand that or to be educated or know the importance and freedom and liberation of education. And because even at my church, oh my gosh, it's like that's one reason why I'm leaving the church, or that church. I'm looking like, yeah, I'm looking for a new, like I've been doing my research, and there's a few where I'm just like, okay, I like you. Okay, it's like, yeah, we're gonna go on a church date. Yeah, let's see if we a match and stuff. Okay, that's a different story for another episode. But I remember my pastor's like, men only want three things out of women. And it was like, well, it's like they all start with B. And well, guys, you already know what one of them is. And it's like, it's either one or the other. You ladies, you know which one. It's like, but then he was like, your knowledge of the Bible. He was like, I would say books, but the only book we want you to know and read is the Bible. Yeah, all right. Anyway. But it's just crazy because now we have Zennials, and I'm probably going to do another episode on this topic, but now we have the sons from my generation, and now the sons who grew up fully with internet and technology and the expansion of it. Now they're dependent on the listening, not reading and comprehension. But now I think that's one of the reasons why we have the red pill and the alpha, because it's like they're so busy listening to these quote unquote men who they talk about masculinity and growing muscles and all this other stuff, but they don't talk about intellect, comprehension, and understanding, and the importance of just learning of different things that you don't know about, and understanding others that are different from yourself, and just reading, period, because oh, it's like even when I was teaching in the inner city, there were eighth graders who were still on third grade reading level. So yeah, I'm gonna need a part two because I didn't even get to that. And I still have other examples when it comes to dating. Because do you know how many men? Do you know how many of these men cannot read? Do you know how many men where it's like we're talking on the phone and they're putting me down for my education, and they are telling me that I must be a square. I'm going to be boring because, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm writing my novel. Oh, that's stupid. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. And oh, yeah, there was the one, yeah, and surprise, surprise, I dated a couple pastors before. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of I am being brainwashed. Because at first I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just need to dot, dot, dot. I was trying to figure out everything with the religion, but yeah, anyway. But I remember one of the pastors was just like, well, what you're reading is probably going to be garbage. And you know what? I'll do a part two. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.